everyone for taking your time and joining this webinar. Glad to see you all here. My name is Karthik Iyer. I run a tech company known as Infoject. We are in this domain since almost now 6 years. We've been working very closely with clients globally in the e-commerce space. So the foundation or the birth of Infoject was to help e-commerce entrepreneurs to help and set up and realize their e-commerce venture. So that's the entire goal that we started with. And today in this journey, we have worked with a lot of, more than 150 plus e-commerce entrepreneurs globally, help them to kind of set up their e-commerce business. So we're helping them to starting from design to develop, and also help them to market their online store. So that's been a journey overall, closely working on e-commerce space along with a lot of e-commerce entrepreneurs. And before this, I also had a venture called as Engrave.in, wherein I was one of the founders there, and I worked on the personalized gifting segment. So I have gone through the complete journey of how e-commerce stores are set up, how products are getting shipped, courier, to the whole cycle of how an e-commerce company works. So not only from the tech aspect, but have managed the complete show of how e-commerce stores have been running and e-commerce business runs overall. So yeah, it's a great opportunity to kind of share with fellow co-risers on how they can set up an online store and run a successful online business in India.
Okay, awesome. So thank you so much, everyone. So we have a mixed kind of audience. We have Rajesh, who's already into e-commerce, and we have a couple of more people who are trying to explore. And I believe once this webinar gets out, there are a lot of people who will be watching this video. So I'll keep on asking some questions to Karthik, and there are some things that we had planned that what we will discuss. But you can ask any questions to him also. So Karthik, we have this tradition of incentivizing people to ask good questions.
Right.
Ankit had won the last prize. I'm yet to connect him with Yash. I will do it. I'm going to meet him today. So Ankit, I'll do that. So idea is to incentivize people to ask good questions.
Great.
So what is the reward you will give to someone who's going to ask good questions in this webinar?
So what I can do is, one is we can, Infoject as an agency, if they have not done the logos yet for their brand, we can help them in creating their logo sets. And two, if they have the logos and the brand identity, but they have not, they're still going to start on the e-commerce business, I can help them to kind of create a complete e-commerce plan or e-commerce business framework, working with them closely on a call or a session, and help them closely guide their complete business framework, starting from procurement to delivery. What all things can be done, including tech aspects of it.
Okay, awesome. So guys, I'll ask one or two basic questions to get started with the program, but you can ask any questions in the comments section. Also, you can speak up. So Karthik, the theme is how to start and run a successful e-commerce business in India.
Right.
So two aspects, when you started Engrave and when you are running your business.
Correct.
Why did you started those businesses? Why you chose those businesses? And what would be your recommendation to someone who's planning to start an e-commerce business?
Great. So now if you see in the current context or current scenario that e-commerce has been kind of a very competitive and a crowded market. So if you are planning to start an e-commerce business in 2019, it has to be very well planned and very well thought as far as what business that you want to start with. So the first hypothesis is basically, like any business starts, what's the overall business requirement is, or what's the overall market need is, or what's the overall you can say what's the overall sales or business that you can overall expect from that specific product or specific category or niche. So when we started way back in 2014 in Engrave, at that point in time, we had started on personalized gifting space. So at that point in time, what we thought is that we don't want to kind of get into a crowded space wherein we would be selling fashion products, or we will be selling furniture products, or maybe kids products. So we thought that why don't we look at certain very niche products which are very good for the end customers, because they would be able to customize and personalize and give a great kind of a product to their loved ones. So this was the original thought. And then we also did a market research and survey that, no, okay, if we have to start this kind of a business, what is it that, the traffic is, what's the kind of online requirement is or online need is, and also what's the offline kind of need is. So we also understood that, okay, who are the online players. So typically the process is that, first is to understand that, okay, what business that we're trying to get into. So say suppose if it's going to be a personalized gifting space. So then first step is to identify, okay, in the overall space, apart from online, overall space, including online plus offline, who are the total players. So what we do is, even when we work with our clients, we help them to kind of, try to find out that, okay, who's the overall kind of competitors in this space. So create an Excel sheet where input in all the total number of competitors available. Then the next step is, and this is, I mean, either of any business that you're planning to start, whether it's t-shirts, whether it's furniture, or whether it's selling B2B products. So first thing is to put in the list of all the competitors available. Second thing is basically, then once you have identified that, who are the competitors, then you understand that, okay, what are the products that they're selling, right? So once you understand that, okay, this is the segment that we need to play in, then the second stuff comes in that, okay, what products that we need to kind of go in and sell on the store. So what you can do is you can use tools like Google Keyword Planner. You can see in Google search that, okay, what are the volumes of searches that these products are kind of offering. So at least you would kind of understand that, okay, what is the kind of buyer intent these kind of products are having, which would give you a very good insight that, okay, in India, this is the average kind of traffic, or this is the average kind of search volumes that these products are kind of people are trying to search online. Then based on this, you can understand that, okay, who are the competitors who are selling the products online. So then you can also understand that, what are the pricings available for this product, who are selling online, and then who are selling offline. So based on this, at least you will create a framework or a structure that, okay, this is the overall business that I want to focus on. This is the overall, these are the competitors that I have, and these are the products that I want to play around. Now there are two kind of products, two kind of business models over here. One is when you want to go with a volume kind of a product. So for example, products like selling phones or selling accessories. These are very high volume kind of products where the margins would be very thin, but the transactions would be very high. Again, now setting up these kind of stores are very easy to start, but to get the kind of trust or the kind of validation from the end users that you are authentic would really take time, because volume products have very thin margin to play around. So if it's your first business, ideally my suggestion would be to get into very niche kind of products. So say suppose if you're looking at say leather skin covers for iPads, or maybe you're looking for, say, only creating custom shirts, only creating custom white shirts, right? So these kind of options, wherein what happens is, wherein you can focus on a specific segment, try to attack a specific niche, and boil down to specific kind of products and services that you might have, and then kind of scale up from there. And the opportunity on the other side is, here you would be able to get in at least good amount of profits as far as per product is concerned, because a custom shirt, depending on the quality that you might be selling, the kind of fabric that you might have, the kind of prints that you might give, the kind of the kind of options that you might have, customizing options, would kind of make you separate from your competitors. So this is one category. The other category is say suppose if you're trying to sell in food and beverages, like for example selling tea online, right? So then what happens is you can create specific categories of hand-picked tea expertise from various locations globally or various locations in India, and then try to create your own products and then try to sell them online. Because what happens is when you try to create your own products and try to sell them online, you are able to kind of govern your own prices. Whereas if you're trying to have if you're trying to resell products, what happens is the MRP is fixed, and at the same point in time there would be a lot of players who would be trying to cut you in or trying to sell that again in multiple marketplaces, which again becomes a very high volume based game. And to start off initially, because of this kind of a high volume game, it might kind of give you some kind of a distraction or kind of things kind of fall back. So in all, I would say to start off, the first few steps to get started is to do some solid groundwork as far as research is concerned, to create some, use an Excel sheet to create a high level competition, to understand what products they're selling, to understand the price points, what they're operating in, and also to find out multiple niches in that specific segment, right? So if you are trying to sell furniture, don't try to sell direct, furniture wherein which all others are selling. Try to maybe if there are specific niches like foldable furnitures or maybe colorful furnitures or maybe furniture that can be customized. Those are the kind of niches that you can find and then attack that segment.
So Karthik, you mentioned about Google keywords. So which are the tools and resources that can help someone who wants to execute that part?
Right. So the free ones are Google, the free and the best one is Google Keyword Planner. That's the best one because that kind of gives you a very detailed analysis on what people are searching and what's the traffic density, so on and so forth. So as far as basics are concerned, that's yes. Apart from that, if because we are in this segment and we as an agency, we very much focus on SEO and search marketing. We use products like softwares like SEMrush. We use SpyFu, which gives more detailed analysis and insight on the traffic trends, on the spending capacities. Like for example, if I want to understand that in furniture segment, who is spending maximum in Google paid ads. So that gives me an understanding that, okay, if my competitor's monthly spend on this category or this product is like, say, suppose if 2 lakhs. So then I need to understand that, no, okay, if I am going to come into this market, this is my investment is going to be. So okay. And these are the tools which really help you to give more detailed and granular insights, and also help you to kind of create a good research and business plan in case if you are going for investments.
Okay, I'll ask few more questions around that. But any questions? Prayas was raising his hand. Prayas.
Yes. Karthik, I actually understand what you've been talking about in terms of user research and what products are out there and what is the demand for and all that. And I started actually when we started our endeavor to make furniture and whatever, our design products, we started with eGrow and we tried to understand what is the keyword dense landscape, what does it look like. But there is a very specific problem in this approach for me as a designer. I'm a designer. So for me, e-commerce and products are interesting as a designer because one would be interested in making things to sell. So I'm not sourcing things. I'm not, I'm not trading. So basically something like that. So if for design, this is a peculiar problem because whatever research you do with keywords or with sales histories, you're going to find things that people already have. And the point of design is to make things that they don't have.
Correct.
Right. So, so this logic actually goes against the entire logic of, the whole history of product design, of innovation, of everything would basically not have happened if we tried to just take incremental steps according to what the market is already doing. And that's what I wanted to ask you, that if one is basically, as a designer, one has a gut feel, okay, according to user patterns, according to what people have use whatever the
Guys,
next
if
logic.
you can summarize the questions and then
So the insight is the next logical step. You read sometimes the next logical step in usability, in usership is this, and you try to make it. So my question is this: that should one do that, or should one stick to trying to understand what are the consumption patterns?
Okay. Yes.
Right. So yeah, that's a great question, Prayas, and I understand. I mean, as a designer, you always run on your gut feel and creativity and try to solve problems. And I mean, first attack the problem and then bring a solution. And you look from that perspective. But still, I mean, if you're looking at a business at the same, at the same point in time, we have to understand that from a business framework standpoint, even if you are planning to kind of launch any new product, there would be a market gap, right? So you would have targeted a specific market, whether it's like no, I mean, if you're looking at, like, for example, a very small example, like say wooden iPad covers, right? So in that, iPad covers is the market. Out of that, you are trying to create a new product or a solution for the same market. So it's always better to understand that what's the key traffic, or what's the consumption pattern, or what are the trends for a very high level category.
So, I mean, what you're saying is actually one has to do a little bit of analysis and
Correct.
extrapolation.
Yes.
One can't really look at this data and just this data can't give us the answers. One has to look at.
These are not mutually exclusive things. Like you can use the data and you can add your own creativity to come up with a answer.
Yes, but I'm just trying to understand what sometimes, for example, when one reads blogs and so one just sees a kind of theory. Okay, this is how you do e-commerce, but then there are all these things floating around in my head, so I was not sure how to marry these two.
Yeah, and then that sometimes depends on what you are able to execute also. So if you are building a very innovative product without any data, and if you are succeeding, then you need not worry about the data. Correct. But if you are launching in the market and after 3 months nobody is buying it, then you have to understand that whether people are actually buying such products or not. So it depends. Yes. It is very contextual also. So probably if you strongly believe in your gut, you go with that, see how it goes, and incrementally try to improve on that. So you can use the mix of both and whatever you are absolutely convinced about.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, awesome. Anybody has any questions? I'll ask a few more questions to Karthik. Anyone? Okay, I'll ask one more and then, so Karthik,
sure.
So in India, a lot of people come up with a lot of e-commerce products. So globally, what is happening? And any Indian examples that, okay, because a lot of times what happens, some model would have worked globally really well, and then people who try to Indianize that version. So any examples you can share on that? This is what
Right. So, I mean, if you look at the global market, there are so most of the Indian e-commerce, stable ones or the ones that are funded have been looked at have been launched in India after taking an inspiration from the global market. So if you look at even if you look at Flipkart, or if you look at, because initially Flipkart, when it started, it looked at how Amazon operated, how marketplaces work. Similarly, if you look at fashion marketplaces like Myntra, they looked at how international brands like Zappos was working across, trying to order Zazzle and other e-commerce brands were working globally, and then try to create a fashion kind of e-commerce setup over here in India. So if you look at global brands, yes, there are many case studies in India, and there are many case studies in the US. But if you're looking at the implementation in India, how it has been done, it's been kind of customized according to our taste, our behaviors, and it has been given a touch of how Indians would like to kind of buy. Like, for example, if you look at Lenskart, right, one of the leading and evolving brands in the eyewear segment. Now there are similarly, so there are similar brands in the US who have kind of same kind of model, but then Lenskart tweaked its brand to wherein it gave Indians a doorstep kind of test and wear kind of a model, which is suited to our needs, because in India we would not completely depend on using the machine learning or AI capabilities wherein you can test and see how the lens look at your face and then take a decision. So so a lot of startups in India who have adopted, though looking at what global brands have been doing or global e-commerce ventures have been doing, but they have tweaked and adopted that to how Indians buy.
So Karthik, building an e-commerce business has a lot of aspects. So you decide on the market, what product to build. Either you source it or you build it yourself.
Correct.
And then there are pointers. One is to build a technology platform. Do I build? What technologies that you, what platforms should I use?
Correct.
Another is the payment gateway part. That is which payment gateways to go with, logistics part, and how do I sell it? So if you can break down each of the points and briefly mention about that.
Correct. So there are so I'll touch base on the first models of how you can have a dropship kind of model versus you being the supplier, you being the manufacturer, and then you kind of supplying those products, or trying to become the interim trader. So when we talk about the first model of dropship, so what happens is in a dropship kind of a model, you do not carry any overheads, neither the supply chain or neither the stock. All you have is basically an online property, the online brand, and you work very closely with the distributors or manufacturers whom you have aligned with, and basically you do the online marketing and promotion of that specific products, and then generate business. And the entire once the order comes in from the invoicing part to the entire delivery and supply chain is taken care by your vendor or your partner. So as a business owner, it's again your call, what kind of business you want to kind of set up and what kind of ecosystem you want to play around. So I've seen the dropship models work very well in the US, because typically there are lot many dropship model vendors in US who are kind of white label dropship vendors for a lot many e-commerce stores, and all they do is basically once the order comes in, they bill, pack, and ship to the end customers on your behalf. Now, the reason there is good opportunity in the dropship model is because your overheads or your investment lies only in the marketing side, and as far as the headache of managing the supply chain or the operations or building it from scratch goes all as a responsibility to the dropship.
Okay, so if somebody is, for example, Prayas, and there are a lot of other people who will be watching this video, they are like, they want to start an e-commerce business, they are identified.
Correct.
So which are the payment gateways, which are the options, which are the good ones, what has been your experience from an Indian perspective?
Correct.
Logistics service providers, if you can share more on that.
Right. So as far as tech platforms are concerned, there are I'm talking about e-commerce as a whole ecosystem. So tech platforms, if you're concerned, there are SaaS players, and then there are build your own kind of platforms, and then you have the ones where you can deploy it on servers and be managed by e-commerce agencies. So when you're talking about SaaS platforms, Shopify tops the list because of its history, plus also the stability that it has. So if you have any e-commerce store, or if you have a store wherein the flow or the functionality of the store is pretty much standard like any other e-commerce store, and all you are going to do is to focus on selling your product, then Shopify fits in. Even though it is in India, people say that it's a monthly based model, why should I pay every month? but there is a cost involved as far as the technology is concerned. There's a cost involved in maintaining that technology as well. So Shopify does that beautifully by having a good team behind their back, and they manage.
So Shopify is one good option.
Yes.
Which are the other similar people?
The other ones are like, so if you're having like around 10 to say 5,000 odd products, or say 10 to say even 1,000 products, WooCommerce is also a good option, where it's basically a plugin on top that sits on top of WordPress, but it does a good job. I mean, brands like Nike today are using WooCommerce as their e-commerce platform for setting up stores. Apart from that, if you're looking at like 1,000 to 10,000 plus kind of products, then you have Magento, which is also a very good framework built on PHP.
But you need developers in your team to.
Yes, yes, you would need developers, or you can outsource it to an agency, because these are not like proprietary technologies wherein it like a classic product development where you have to kind of own the code, etc., etc. These are all ready frameworks. All you can do is, yes, the advantage between Shopify versus WooCommerce or a Magento is that in Shopify you have a ready framework which is like which has a lot of functionalities that you need to kind of use the standard ones. Whereas if you want to kind of do a lot of customization, then you need to have access to the code, which Shopify does not give, and in WooCommerce and Magento platforms that can be easily achieved.
Okay, awesome. Anybody has any questions on the technology platforms? And Rajesh is building Shopify apps, so Rajesh can also share his input around this thing. Ankit, yes, please speak up.
Yeah, so I have a question, like in is e-commerce platform, there are so many categories and subcategories. So how to maintain the database? For example, each and every user using our app, your app, or our web, then one by one daily you are adding products. So that time, how you design that time that after like 6 months or 1 year, if your database will increase, then how you can manage all the products in one category, subcategory. And second thing is how you approach with directly providers, because each and every providers put their products on your platform. So one by like door to door, you reach to providers, or what is the exact process for to grab the providers on your platform?
That's a great question, Ankit. So what you are asking is specifically for a marketplace. So there are two types of stores. One is basically a single store, and then there is a multi-vendor marketplace kind of a store. So in a single store, you will be the admin and you will be managing all the categories. You will be updating all the categories. That will be completely under your control. Whereas marketplace is something wherein there will be multiple sellers, just like what we see on Amazon or Flipkart. And then the vendors would be managing that. So typically what happens in this kind of an ecosystem, when you have multiple vendors, there's a admin section for all the vendors, wherein through which they would be kind of putting, so you as a owner would be creating those admin section access for your vendors, wherein they would be able to kind of go in and create those categories, subcategories, put in the product images, descriptions, set up the quantities, stock details, etc., product pricing, costing. You would be also be able to kind of set up the commission structures, etc. That how much commission each vendor would kind of give you, and then part of your overall SLA as part of the contract. So through this, you manage the overall ecosystem. Now coming as far as the database is concerned, what happens in platforms like Magento, multi-vendor marketplace comes as an extension. So there are many extension providers like Amasti, Webcool, etc., who are providing many options for multi-vendor editions. So you can easily drop them as part of the extension or plugin, which would extend your entire database, translating it from a single store to a marketplace.
Okay, but for your products, like, have you approached different vendor, right? So if you are directly adding all the products by your own way instead of second approach which you mentioned. So that time, for example, I just check your website like sunglass and accessories and everything you mentioned. So those products for for those products you have to approach to all the vendors, right?
Correct.
Then you can add. So one like face to face you reach there, or like how you connect to all
No,
the vendors?
so what you can do is, Ankit, in that case, once you first you have a meeting with the vendor or supplier saying that, okay, we are this company, we are going to launch this marketplace, we would like to have you on board, and once, I mean, we will be marketing it, through which you will be generating traffic and business. So once you have the initial agreements and contracts signed in place, what you need to do is you need to give them access, just like a admin panel access, through which the ID and password, through which the vendor would be able to log into the backend, and that section would be only visible to that specific vendor. And then that would have his name, details, etc., etc. There he can put in all the categories, subcategories, product images, price descriptions, and he will be able to control everything. Once he uploads all the products over there, you also can have an interim check whether that kind of products that he has added is part of like your deal, or it maintains the kind of branding or kind of style guide that you have given. And if everything is fine, you approve, then all those products would be visible under that specific seller in the marketplace.
Okay.
Awesome. Since the technology friend, anybody has any question? Or Rajesh, you want to share your work on what you are doing so people get more context about it? Or Prayas, you want to ask something?
I just had a quick question.
Sure.
So, it's a very simple question. Actually, the entire cost and time of managing one's own e-commerce marketplace front end, which would then also have the cost of getting the traffic to it. I mean, you would either need to get paid traffic, or, I mean, SEO wouldn't work in the short term, whatever you do. So that cost and the cost that it's going to cost you for if you put your product on a marketplace like Amazon.
Correct.
So if you could just share some basic, rule of thumb guidelines about how does it work out?
Okay. Yep.
Right. Great. So typically, I mean, Amazon or Flipkart, the starting, I mean, for any category, the starting commission that they take or incentive that they take starts from around 15%, goes to 45% with the categories that they operate in. So now, again, like I said, that as a brand, if you're trying to position in Amazon and Flipkart from day one, yes, multi-channel or omni-channel as a strategy is very good, because what would happen is you would get your initial sales coming from Amazon and Flipkart, because they already have created a trust, they already have created a set customer base. A lot of e-commerce vendors, what they're doing is they're putting in specific products or specific SKUs in the marketplace, and then through which, I mean, which they can kind of given that kind of commission structures and that kind of business to Amazon and Flipkart. And once they establish a set amount of customer base, then what they do is, I mean, they try to upsell or cross sell through branding or through customer communication, and then they try to make the customer come back to their main store, which has all the all variants and all options available there. So if in your business, if you are producing or if you are manufacturing something wherein you have the control on the price, and wherein you can share that price or margin with Amazon and Flipkart, yes, it's a great strategy. But if it's a very hyper competitive business wherein you're trying the same kind of products like a laptop or a phone, then it's all about volume basis, and again gets back to like what kind of deal structure you have with these marketplaces. But overall, if you are trying to start like for example, if you are going to do something like custom products, or you are going to have designer products, it's of course a good option to sell it on stores like Amazon and Flipkart, at least one or two models wherein you can show show your products, show your capability, show your service, have your initial good reviews out there. And then once the customers see that you are rating good, you have a good service, you have a good product, then they can come back to your store for rest of the products and then get into a transaction.
Okay.
Thank you.
Karthik, about the payment gateways, what is the state of payment gateways? How friendly they are for the in the e-commerce stores?
Right. Yeah. So in the past couple of years, payment gateways had a good transformation. So almost starting from CC Avenue
EBS
to
or
EBS to PayU Money, all of them have kind of transformed themselves. So I mean, I would say that the only differentiating factor is basically one is basically the percentage of commission that they take, and the service and support. So, I mean, personally, I have worked with CC Avenue, EBS, PayU Money, Razorpay. All of them are good. But yes, I mean, the ones like Razorpay, they are very good as far as the support is concerned. The speed is concerned.
InstaMojo is also
yes,
good.
InstaMojo is also very good. So these they give a very hassle-free kind of experience for new store owners to come in and set up their shops, very onboard them very easily, and then give them a very good tech ecosystem, so that it's a hassle-free integration. Plus a very good support model, so to kind of take payments from the customers, and all of them have all the major banks, all major credit cards, debit cards, wallets like Paytm, Freecharge, etc., etc. So all of them is covered as far as the bundle is concerned. So all you need to do is you need to speak to one payment gateway like Razorpay or CC Avenue or InstaMojo, and they will take care of everything.
So we have a lot of e-commerce founders in the community, and the InstaMojo, PayU Money, or Razorpay, like to somehow we end up collaborating somewhere.
Correct.
So if any one of you are interested or want to know more about it, either I can connect you with the founders who are already working with them, so that can be solved or that can be done effectively. About the logistics service providers,
Correct.
what is the state and which are the good players in that?
Right. So logistics part, delivery, then we have Zeppo. So what has happened is along with the payment gateway technology transformation, logistics also transformation has been done via tech. So Zeppo is giving a complete integration with your backend, wherein you can go in and set that up, so that, and then they have cut deals with multiple sellers, multiple courier companies like DHL, Blue Dart, you name them, and they have onboarded. So what happens is, rather than going to, because when you start small, I mean, we had gone through the same pains when when we started small. The first question that every courier company was asking us that, how much transactions would you be doing every month? Now, as a small player in the market, it's very difficult to answer that question, because we don't know. And if we do very small kind of transactions, then they would kind of increase that. They would kind of consider us retail customers, and then they would give us the retail cost. Whereas for corporate rates or corporate prices, we need to do bulk courier transactions. So that's where companies like Delivery and Shiprocket and Zeppo, they have kind of made it very easy for newer online players. What they've done is they have cut in bulk deals with all of these vendors, and what they give is a very solid technology in between. So you don't need to kind of go in and negotiate rates with multiple vendors. They have done all the rates part. All you have to do is to pay them per transaction.
And as an e-commerce founders, how do I get associated with them? Like I send them the email. Do you have the contact person in different cities?
Yes, so they have contact persons in different cities. You can reach them via phone, via email, and they have a very good support network. So you just like we are onboarding InstaMojo or Razorpay as part of the system, we have to just get in touch with them, and they have everything online from prices to everything, which is pretty open.
Okay.
All that we need to do is select a specific package. Like for example, if we are going to do 25 transactions per month, they have a 25 transactions package. If you are going to do 50, then they have specific package.
Piyush has asked this question. If you can read it out for everyone's benefit.
Okay, so you're saying that my product is seasonal, so should I consider Zeppo, Shiprocket, or should I have in-house logistics? So Piyush, the question is like, if it's seasonal, how much transactional volume would you be doing? If there are if the orders like above 500,000, and if it's going to be very difficult for you to trace and track and give the experience to your end customers, then I would always suggest Zeppo, .in or ShipRocket kind of a solution. The reason is because today everyone wants a Flipkart or Amazon kind of experience when they're buying online. So we have benchmarked them as far as the processes are concerned, systems are concerned. So today, even if you're doing this seasonal, but if you are trying to spend like 5 rupees or 10 rupees extra to give that kind of a technology experience wherein customers can track their orders, wherein mm, they can check the status, delivery, etc., and you can manage it well. I think it would be better to kind of invest in that and retain those customers, because if you go to smaller vendors, smaller players, every time you'll have to kind of mail those customers manually. You'll have to kind of do a lot of manual stuff out there, which would again be painful for you and also painful for your end customers, because they'll have to kind of go to the small vendors website and stuff, which might also kind of lead to customer losses. So it's always better to invest in good technologies if they are available.
And it depends on whether you are delivering your products to a particular area in a particular city. If everything is concentrated in just 2-3 kilometer mark, then probably it makes sense to have. But if you are selling it across multiple cities, then probably to begin with, you can work with a lot of this good tech players who are doing well in logistics.
Right. And there is no harm in having both also. Like you can have the tie-ups as well, plus also you can have it. You can have
like high frequency use cases. You can have your own team,
and then you can take judgment accordingly, which works the best.
Okay, so there is one part is about I build a product, I get the payment gateway, technology platform, logistics. But how do I sell it? That's a separate topic in itself. So we'll probably have to do a repeat around that. Selling up the e-commerce. So you have brief points around that. And another thing that I wanted to ask was, so this is very standard, right? Like these are the things. But when people try to build their e-commerce business, they face a lot of challenges.
Correct.
There's sometimes technology platforms, I have an independent guy who's not responding.
Correct.
Or Magento is working out everything, but one particular thing is not working out.
Correct.
So a lot of challenges or roadblocks that people face. So in your experience, what are the challenges that people face in spite of knowing all those things?
Correct. Yeah. So as far as like you said, I mean, the easiest part is to kind of buy a domain and like buy a Shopify subscription and get started. But the biggest challenge that comes in is after setting up the store online to get your first transaction, seeing reflecting in your backend. So the first component to do or to implement as part of your online business is to understand that because you're in an e-commerce business, e-commerce or online marketing is going to be very important, and it is a fundamental requirement for growth. So though there are many digital agencies or there are many digital experts available in the market, but if you are going to be in this business as a business owner, you have to learn the basics or fundamentals of how digital marketing works, so that it would help you to plan and manage things effectively and better. So there are 3 to 4 ways how you can market your products. One is basically you can do SEO. So like I said initially in the planning, that once you understand that now what your target audience is, what your target market is, based on that you can work out a complete SEO plan and target those specific keywords to that specific audience, which would which is trying to find certain products. Second is paid marketing, which is like PPC, wherein you're running paid campaigns for generating traffic for your website and then subsequently trying to convert them. And then using social media,
content marketing, influencer marketing. Okay, so it's a separate topic in itself. Vasim has asked, what is the percentage payment done via cash on delivery in India e-commerce stores?
Right. So, I mean, still the percentage, I mean, roughly I would say that this 30 to 40%, which still is done in India via cash.
I believe it would be more.
It would be, yeah, I mean, right now they say that it's 30 to 40%, but we can say that it can be equally also that 50 is cash and 50 is via payment gateways, because still there are certain segments of the society who still prefer paying cash and paying via online. So and this is a great question. I'll tell you, when we started, we had kept all the options open. In fact, even we were accepting checks, we were accepting DDs, we were no, we were getting reverse payments, like no payments collected. Like we had tie up with clients with courier companies like Aramax and Blue Dart, which would go and collect cash from your customers and then deposit back in your account. So when you're going to start, no, in the e-commerce business, don't I would suggest that no, don't keep unless you have high custom products, or you think that no, they are very risky, or you don't want to kind of have cash kind of a business, then it's fine. But always keep all the options open, rather than trying to have only very specific payment options available, because a lot of times customers might not tell you that no, because of your website does not have COD, so I did not transact. It's very like no, I mean, lot of this happens without even speaking. So you have to initially, when you're starting off, you have to keep all the options open for your customers.
Okay, awesome. Anybody has any last question? Then we'll.
So my last question is Infijig. So you are founder of Infijig, right? And what?
Yes,
Engrave is your product?
Engrave was my previous venture where I was associated with it. After that, I started in Infijig, which is an e-commerce focused agency, and working with e-commerce entrepreneurs after my learnings from Engrave and previous e-commerce ventures to help build and set up successful online ventures.
Okay, Karthik, can you share one exciting examples of the kind of clients that you work with? Any examples?
So you can look at.
I'll share the screen with the people.
So you're working with Motocross. Motocross is a UK-based motocross accessory part company. So they have a brick and mortar presence, but apart from that, they also have a beautiful online store developed by us. So they are doing brilliant as far as their online marketing and promotion is concerned, and we have done a lot of stuff to help them to increase the conversion rates. So not only design and marketing, but after the store is launched, you also need to ensure that there are continuous improvements that are done on the websites, because this is like your business. You have to continuously monitor and keep improving, so that you understand that the conversions are happening, where things are stopping, why customers are going away. So we have used tools like SmartLook, which kind of records your entire transaction, or not transaction, but your entire user behavior on your website. So websites like SmartLook gives a very good insight on what users are doing on your website, which kind of removes all the unknowns, or all the I mean, it's like rather than shooting in the dark, if you know what users are doing by looking at the journey, by looking at the videos of what users are doing and why they are going off your product page, or if they are having a hard time reading the product description, or they are hard time doing checkout. So SmartLook gives you a very kind of very detailed insight on the entire product journey and the user journey. And then based on this, we go back and implement all the changes and help them optimize the conversion. So we have worked with a lot of exciting stores like Motocross, Finisterre, and we have helped them to kind of build and market their store successfully. And yeah, it's an interesting journey so far.
Okay, last 2-3 minutes of this session. Rajesh has asked, what is the best for international shipping, especially US and UK?
So international, Aramax is one.
And I believe from India.
Yep. Yes, Aramax is one because they have a very good network, and they also give good insurance protection. So that's very important as far as international shipping is concerned, because in case if there are damages en route, you have to ensure that you are covered for that. Plus also DHL is also a great DHL UPS. These are two great international logistics companies who provide great international shipping options. But if you're doing cross-border shipping, you need to ensure that your insurances are in place. You do good packaging, which is also very essential as far as the overall e-commerce experience is concerned. So safety is there, product damages are there. You need to ensure that your website has good written policies for international customers, so that that doesn't kind of become a roadblock for international customers to come and transact on your website.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, so you can check out the upcoming eChai webinars. So Rajesh, like there was some confusion. So if you register on the upcoming webinars link, those who register, I send them the webinar links to them. So you can choose the topics that you are interested in. You can go to eChai.in/events and you'll be able to discover that which are the upcoming programs, and you can choose to register in the events that you are interested in. And also you can also recommend us that, like now that through this webinars, we can become the very specific topics, like 5-6 people, we can go deep down on a particular topic. So what about just Instagram for e-commerce stores? So any suggestion that you would have, we can take that up. And if you also want to share experiences about your experiences with the community, you can let me know. And you can go to eChai.in stories, where after the events, I publish all these stories. Upload all these webinars. So you can ask. So sometimes what happens, there are more things that you would want to discuss. So either, like for example, there was an open house last time. Tomorrow also we are doing this open house. So there will be a video of that and detailed stories about that. But if you have any more questions for the person who has presented, you can ask in the comments. So probably we can extend the discussions over there. And I'll just stop this screen share and we'll announce the reward basically. Okay, screen share has stopped or not? Okay, Karthik, who wins the reward? Who asked the best question?
I think Prayas had a very good question around the analysis part, and also he had two additional questions. So yeah, I think and if he's planning to start one, this award would be really helpful for him.
Okay, so Prayas, thank you so much for joining in and winning the prize. But anybody else who wants to get
connected? Jatin, how do I get in touch with Karthik? I mean, how do
I'll make an introduction, but if on eChai also you'll be able to see the Karthik's profile, so you can send me a request. But I'll also introduce.
So Karthik, I'll get in touch with. Thank you.
I'll do my part for connecting you with Yash and
thank you.
Rajesh and Piyush. Thank you so much for and Meena and Ankit. Thank you so much, and Vasim. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. Today we complete 10 years of eChai, and thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much, guys. I'll now just end this program, and I'll upload the video tomorrow morning.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Somebody has written. Okay, thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.